Hey, what's up? This is Matt with Let's Talk Music. I'm here with founder, vocalist, and guitarist of Fire of Aries, Brett Davis. Brett, thank you for joining us this evening.
Matt, thanks for having me, man. Thank you.
So, where are you joining me from?
I'm in the Nashville, Tennessee area.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of music going on down there.
Man, it has definitely picked up over the last several years, man. So yeah, it's Music City for sure. And any night you can go downtown or in a radius of Broadway, and you can find a really good band, a really good artist.
Oh yeah. Yep, I've been to Nashville a few times and never
Okay.
unfortunately never to like vacation or hang out or anything. It's been more of work, but
Work related. Okay. Well,
yeah.
got you. What do you do, if you don't mind me asking?
I drive truck.
You
Now,
drive a truck. All right,
I,
dude.
I I don't I don't do it over the road anymore. I'm home every day now. But back when
Okay.
I was over the road, went through Tennessee and all that many times.
And you're based out of where then?
Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio. All right. Very
Yes,
cool.
sir. So,
Columbus.
Brett, you started this band back in 2001, correct?
The idea for sure. It started way back when I got more serious about being a musician and having quote unquote a project or a band. I was playing with a group of guys called August Ending, also changed their name to Burning Yesterday
Mm-hmm.
back in that time. And that's where I really cut my teeth as far as, a live performing musician. And, I owe quite a bit of my experience to those guys. And yeah, so around, in my college days is when I got semi serious about music. So that is accurate.
Okay. So you just released "Kiss from a Rose." It's your rendition of Seal's song from Batman Forever.
That's right, man. I've been a big Batman fan ever since I was, a little kid, from the cartoon all the way to the real movie versions of it. I am a Michael Keaton Batman. Again, there's been some other great Batmans there out, made, but I'm a Michael Keaton guy. But ever since Batman Forever came out, and around '95, that song had always stuck with me. And I don't even think I had a guitar at the time. And maybe I wasn't even really into music, like being a musician.
Right.
95, how was I? I wasn't, maybe I was, I don't even think I had a guitar. Anyway, I always liked that song. It always stuck with me. It's a very cinematic song, very catchy chorus. And it was a part of the Batman Forever soundtrack, which I have. And it just stuck with me. And, over the years, I've always wanted to do something a little bit different, right? A departure. And as far as that song goes, like I did quite a bit of research on uh, covers of that song, or renditions or reimaginations of that song. And there's several good ones out there that I came across, and I like them, but it always came back to where I'm like, it just not doing it for me, right? Like they're good songs, most of them are kind of copy and paste, arrangements where it's just they did it exactly like the Seal arrangement. They just put heavy guitars on it. That's all fine and good, but it just wasn't different enough. And I'm thinking, okay, if I'm going to do this for real, right? This music thing, I need to do this song and do it differently. I need to depart from the original a little bit, but also keep it, cinematic, keep it, definitely heavy. And I think, and again, I guess listeners and fans will have to be the judge of it, but I think I accomplished it.
Yes.
Me and my producer Cameron Mazel, which he's done Memphis May Fire, he's done Woe Is Me, and countless other bands that I've listened to and look up to. So a big part of that goes to him and the team that we kind of formed to make that track happen.
So how did you end up hooking up with Cameron?
Great question. I'm glad you kind of asked this and you pitched it up for me. So last year, 2022, I was sitting in Las Vegas at a convention, and I'm sitting out at the Las Vegas Convention Center. I'm sitting out on this patio overlooking um, basically Las Vegas. And I'm listening to the new Memphis May Fire, remade in Misery um, album, and I'm just like, this is catchy and heavy all the way through this album, and I'm just like, I got to figure out who produced it, right? So I
Hmm.
get on my phone there. I'm sitting there out there, and it's burning hot, by the way, because it's Vegas. And I had to do a little bit of digging, and I finally found, kind of a discography of Memphis May Fire and who's been a part of it. And I found Cameron. So I looked him up on Instagram, like everybody does. If you're trying to find somebody, Instagram, Facebook. I found him, and I reached out to his management company and basically told him that I have to use Cam because I got to step up to the big leagues, the big boys and big girls of music. Because at this point in my music career, I haven't really done what I believe in my heart that I can accomplish with my music that I want to create. So I took a big risk, and I hired Cameron to help me, with some songs. I came to him, I was like, I know I want to do a cover of something, and then obviously I want to do some originals. What do you want to start with? And he said, let's start with a cover. It's a good start. So I gave him a short list of covers that I would want to do, and he quickly gravitated towards "Kiss from a Rose," and I was glad he did because that was kind of like my number one that I wanted to do. So he picked it, and I told him, Cam, this has to be different. It can't be a copy and paste like everybody else is doing. It has to be heavy, has to be cinematic, has to be a little bit gritty. And, I had my idea in my head of, okay, this is what it's going to sound like. I have my ideas. I'll share it with him. But once we got to work on it, he just came back with the version that you've now heard. And I was completely, just my mind was blown. Like the first time I listened to it, like just like the rough track we did. I'm sitting in my studio here, and I've listened to it probably 20 times. That's no exaggeration. And I'm just like that in that second verse with that little drum beat. It's like, and I'm just like, that got me. Like you don't hear that much in this type of music, this kind of poppy, song that was, popular back in the 90s. Like you
Right.
don't putting that kind of like blackish heavy metal drum that just really got me. And then, that solo that we did was very Andy James-ish. If you're familiar with Andy James, I had to have a solo on that kind of mimicked that because I love that guy.
Hmm.
So, it surprised me because I thought we were just going to do just all heavy guitars through it, but we started out very cinematic, very, the clean, the do. And I was like, okay, like what is going to go when that first drum hit, when it comes in the dun dun, I'm just like, what are we fixing to do? What's going on here? And listen to it all the way through. And then, we put the final touches on it back in December and released it on Friday the 13th. I thought that was important, because I'm a big Jason fan, Friday the 13th fan. So I released it this last week. And that's kind of the history of how this version and this song came to be that you've heard.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me.
Of
I
course.
mean, uh, I tell you, when you talk about what you say, what you feel in your heart. Something I read in your press release that I thought was really cool was, in quote, gravity or gravitate towards songs that tell a story or point or paint a scene in our imaginations.
Heck yeah, dude.
And that's been a lot of bands recently that's they're doing concept albums. They're doing, you know, something that Queensryche did years and years ago with Operation Mindcrime. And I
Mm,
mean, if you ask just about anybody, they'll tell you that's Queensryche's biggest album.
yeah.
So I mean, the concept thing works, and the stories work, and it's really, I think, as a musician, I think it's very smart because you can have your version that you wrote, and what the song means to you, and then all these different people that are out there listening to it can have a different thought or a different meaning.
Yeah.
So I think it leaves it open to interpretation a lot, and I think that makes a better song than, okay, well, this is about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, or
Yeah.
whatever. So
Yep.
yeah, I really thought that that was very cool of you. And also, another thing you said, that you want your influences of rock, metal, and country music to converge into a beautiful, chaotic harmony. That's pretty cool too.
Yeah. I kind of, not kind of, like, I want the Fire of Aries music to, I guess, be a certain way. What I mean by that, I'll get back around to. So I live in the Nashville, Tennessee area. Nashville, Tennessee raised. I'm a Southern boy, and you know, I Fire of Aries is, I want to live just on the outskirts of country music because I have those influences. Your Garth Brooks, your
Hmm.
George Straits, your Tracy Lawrences, you name it, Brooks and Dunn. Like, they're huge influences on me, and that's why I want to stay in my lane. Because in my heart, I'm a metalhead. I'm a rock and roller, but I do have that country boy um, characteristic about me, and I want to be sure that I include that in the songs that I put out. I just want to live right down the outskirts. I don't have to. I don't want to be in country music at all because I can write probably a pretty good country song if I really put my mind to it. But that's not where the energy is. And for me as an artist, and as a band, if you will, like, what's important to me is two things. The first thing is community, right? Like, music now is more, it has to be more of a community than just you're an artist or band or whatever and you put out great music. Like, people want to connect, with the bands or artists that they listen to,
Hmm.
and they want to go along with that journey. And I've gone along with a lot of bands, journeys, and their ups and downs and their fallouts and breakups and stuff like that. And I want the same for listeners and watchers of your show to be, they can be a listener. I definitely want them to become a fan just because they maybe align or relate with me somehow or another. The second thing that's important to me is experience, right? Once I get out and start doing some shows and opening for some, hopefully my favorite bands and influences, I want, those new to Fire of Aries listeners to feel something, different. I've been to quite a few shows in my days being a, old school radio guy and going to shows, doing interviews with bands that I've grown up, loving. And it's come to a point now with today, the state of music, that it's a lot, everybody kind of sounds the same, kind of like
Hmm.
as like when you turn on Octane or Liquid Metal, like it's good. It's good music. There's some catchy stuff in there, but I feel like everybody got the same formula and same similar sound. And I'm just like, I have to do something different because I just don't want to blend in, if you will.
Right.
Um, you know, there's a lot of bands and artists that are, you know, they'll get up there and they'll have heavy guitars, but their lyrics are kind of shallow or not very meaningful. And that's what I am determined to do, is like write songs that, like I said, paint a picture, invoke a certain emotion within you, that you feel something, whatever, happy, sad, glad, or indifferent, just something a little bit different than just going and banging your head. I want that. Don't get me wrong. I want to see, that's my validation. You're sitting there, you're vibing with it. But, I want, maybe after the show, when you come up to the merch booth, or maybe I see you out in public, I want to hear those stories about how, a piece of music influenced you, got you through this, made you feel this, just like, the other, bands before me did to help me get through things or look at things a little bit differently. I want to be a part of, many people, we'll call them fans, listeners, followers, whatever you want to call them nowadays. That stuff is not important to me. It's really the music and what it does for the listener. And, I want it to be a positive experience, but I don't want it to be, how should I say it? Uh, sugarcoated, if you will. Like, oh, I'm very genuine and humble, and I want that to come across to whomever I meet down the road. If that makes any sense.
Right, right. Yeah, it does. Um, that's like I said, a lot of people are going that way. I know a guy that's, worked with several larger than life artists, and it kind of shocked me because he says, I'll be honest with you, he says the guys that are like that, he says, I
Mm,
found are the most humble and most, just cool to hang out with. And I was like, really? Because I would think, the big ego and whatever, they'd be kind of a prick. But, he said that,
right.
that they were, and I think that's rubbed off on a lot of artists. And
Yeah.
it's good because I mean, you gotta look at it this way. I mean, you're a performer, and without the fans, coming to the shows, buying the music,
Method.
the same with us. If we don't have performers, then what are we going to do? I mean, it's like I think when COVID shut everything down, man, that was like the worst time ever. Couldn't go to a concert,
Dude.
couldn't do squat.
That's the first time like I could ever think of in my 30 plus years that that ever happened. Like I didn't ever hear of another time where music was completely shut down. You couldn't tour, you couldn't play shows, you couldn't really ever get out of your house. I think that's my first one.
Right, mine
It's
too.
crazy. Well, yours too. There you go.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm 46, so
You
I've
made it
never
46
seen.
years without a shutdown. That's
Right,
great.
right. So, but I mean, it also, was good for a lot of musicians because they were able to take time and
Yep.
write quality music and, do something that they've been wanting to do for such a long time.
Right.
They really didn't have the time to do, because I mean, obviously, your signed artists, they're trying to put out as much music as possible that, the studios are. And
Yeah.
then same with your unsigned artists because they're wanting to get their music out there and be heard.
Yep.
So it's, it was kind of like just a good time for, I think, a lot of people to, do their thing. And I mean, I know
Yeah.
some bands didn't survive it, and, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of businesses didn't, and it sucks, man. But I mean, I feel like when they started to let up, even though you had to wear a mask to a concert, you had to show a vaccination card, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Um, people needed that. People needed to get together and hear live music.
Yeah.
I mean, because it really is. It's one
Part
of
of
the
our
most,
society.
yeah, and it's
And
it's one of the most important things I think on the planet is art and music. I mean, it's people's expression. It's people's feelings or whatever, and it
yeah,
comes out in either on a canvas or in photographs or through
of course.
amplifiers,
Yeah.
and it's like, man, what the world would be like without it. I mean, it'd be even worse, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've thought about kind of like along that same lines. Like, if we didn't have to work for money every single day, to get by, all we would do is entertain each other.
Hmm.
That would be our occupation, is entertaining each other in some way if we didn't have to work for a wage or a dollar here and dollar there. So yeah, it's just ingrained in us, and music is a big part of at least you know most societies. And when that got taken away from us all, you know man, I couldn't even think, I wasn't on doing anything during that time, tour wise or show wise. So I'm glad that wasn't affected. But like you said, there's a lot of bands and artists that were affected. And, a lot of bands, like, they depend on shows, they depend on those merch sales just to stay
Hmm.
afloat. And that got ripped out from underneath them, and they really didn't know why. And I wrote a song kind of around that time called "The Great Divide." I don't know if you got a chance to listen to it, but that's kind of what it's about. In my press release, I talked about painting a picture or a story, or helping
Right.
you imagine something. Like when I wrote that song, it was about during that time about you know I guess you could say, the pandemic, and, being told this and that, and now it's turning out not to be true. And like, what was this all for? So that was, a song that, from a lyrical story aspect, I'm really proud of, because I think it does paint a picture. So yeah, that song that I wrote back in 2021 kind of hits on that same thing. But you're right, it affected a lot of bands and artists.
Oh yeah. So in your press release, it says that you're going to spend 23 writing and recording.
Yeah, I'm trying to build up my catalog so I can at least, play 35, 40 minutes to open up for, some of my favorite artists, I hope. So I want to you take this year and write and record as much as I can, because now I got this little confidence boost, right? I put out
Mhm.
3 songs prior to Kiss from a Rose. So I've kind of had like this snowball effect of, okay, I stepped up to the big leagues with Cameron and did this song. It seems like it's, being, well received already. So I got to put everything into this. Or if it doesn't, if I do 3 to 4 more songs and have a, total of 6 or 7 songs, plus some, we'll do live, covers or something. I don't know. But all this studio here, like, I'm gonna give it up, man. I'm gonna sell it all and, find fish some more. I competitive fish outside of this. I love that. But I'm shooting my shot, if you will. Like, I've been a musician for 20 plus years. I've played in a couple of bands, in years past, but I haven't really like done music like I want, and where I'm kind of like leading the charge on it. I've just kind of been a member of a band and not like the leader of it.
Right.
And I just have this vision of what I can see my music and music I write with others can be, especially live. Like in the studio and doing the studio versions of songs, of originals and covers is great. That's just the gateway, for the show. You gotta, write a great song so people are interested in it, so they come to the show to meet you, to hear it live. Like, I want the live show when we do them to be just as good as the record, if not better. Like, I kind of think of Devin Townsend. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Devin or not, but he kind of does that.
Mhm.
He's just a normal dude, but he puts out very cinematic metal, right? Heavy, alternative metal, whatever you want to call it. He might call it
Right.
something different. I might be, calling it wrong, but I want that live show to be an experience. And, I got to make this product of my songs first and then make another product of a live show. And I just want it to be just right. Again, I'm going to make mistakes probably, but I'm still in a learning phase. But ultimately, I just want, you know, new fans, future fans, followers, whatever you want to call them. I just
Right.
want them to feel something different when they come to the show. It's
Yeah.
important to me.
See, that's my whole purpose here is, you know, I mean, yeah, I would love to talk to, like James Hetfield, Tommy Lee, bands like,
Yeah,
them, but um, I've really enjoyed talking to people who are trying to make their name, not already made their name.
sure. Yeah,
And I post these to YouTube so that, people, and I know people probably don't watch it all the way through, but at least they see your face.
sure.
New single is in the description,
Thank you for that.
your socials, whatever. So it gives them a chance to, if they're like, okay, this guy's the same old shit as what we always listen to with interviews,
Right. Yeah, you just
but
scroll, you just click off. Yeah, I don't want that, dude. Like, I want to be
right,
different. Not because I have to be different. Like, I want, your listeners, your viewers, your followers that watch this, just to maybe they align with me, and maybe my beliefs or the way I carry myself or whatever. I'm just want people to like the music for what it is intended for, and just for me and, the band members I put together for this, because I got to make sure that I do it right, because I'm only giving myself one shot at this, because it's like music is time consuming to, you know, I know growing up, it wasn't the preferred um, occupation, if you
right.
will, being a musician. It was kind of like get a real job type of thing. And, that stuck with me, like, you're right. Okay. Do I want to kind of lifestyle do I want to live, or do I want to, struggle for a while? And, part of me is like, I wish I, in my 20s or whatever, I would have done, the music thing. But now that I get to kind of look back on life up until now, I'm glad that I'm doing it now because I feel like I got more life experience. I got more stories that
Right.
I can tell, because in your 20s, you don't know shit. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like, you think you do, but you ain't got nothing figured out yet. You ain't gone through anything. You ain't gone through much hard. And again, I can't speak for everyone. I know some people have hard lives at younger ages, but when you're really dependent on yourself, um, you really find out a lot in those first, 10 years from 20 to 30. You got a lot to learn. And then when you enter your 30s, you kind of got a few things figured out. Not everything, and things are still changing, especially when you bring kids into the mix, and you have pandemics and all these crazy things. You get a little bit different perspective, and ultimately I just want to tell stories, either whether they're personal stories, uh, loose personal stories of mine, or you know maybe it is kind of concepty, or whatever is going on in the state of the world or here in the States. Just want to tell stories, man, and paint those pictures. Make, hopefully my music makes you feel happy, sad, maybe mad, maybe angry, because maybe it's a song about something I went through, or somebody went through something that whom I know,
Right.
and just tell their story. I don't want to get on the mic and just scream, dude. Like, that's what I hear a lot of nowadays. And again, some of it's good. Don't get me wrong. Some of it's great, actually. But I just think everybody's doing it, and I love doing it, but I want to do it strategically in my song. I could have got on this track, Kiss from a Rose, and just screamed the whole thing.
Right.
That could have been a pure metal version, but it wouldn't have stuck, I don't believe, if I would have, done that. And I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I went with more of the grittier kind of James Hetfield, kind of Chad Kroeger from Nickelback kind of vibe there, a little Rob Zombie mixture in there. So I really feel like I have this, we'll call it a unique voice. At least I'm trying to sculpt it into one. I just want to have like this melting pot from my influences from, Corey Taylor, James, Chad from Nickelback, Scott Stapp from Creed. Like,
Hmm.
that's, I had some influences back in high school. Creed was like, Mark Tremonti is the reason I play guitar. And his career, he's done his solo thing, so he's fronting the band, so that was inspirational to me as well, for him being an influence of mine. But that's what it's about, for me, Matt, is just telling the story, and making people feel, certain feelings. Like, I'll be strategic about that. I'll write a song that, like right now I'm in the middle of a song about my 6-month-old daughter, like, just what she means to me. That this is exclusive. I haven't released this yet, but I'm writing that song. It's in production right now, and I think it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm a semi-new artist, and most new artists that are only got a few singles out, they're still trying to figure it out. Like, am I good enough? Am I not? Should I keep doing this? And I'm thinking, and I'm believing in my heart that my next song, you know, I'm hopefully release it in the summer. It's gonna be beautiful, dude. It's not gonna be, just straight metal. It's gonna be heavy, but it's gonna have, a lot of meaning to it. And I'm looking forward to that one.
Hell yeah, man. Love that. It's I I've heard other remakes of Kiss from a Rose too, and to be honest, and this isn't because I'm interviewing you, I really do like yours probably the best, and I think it's
Thank you,
because
man.
of how you feel and how you want people to feel when they hear it, and the different phases of it, the way that you've
Sure.
explained, and it's not cookie cutter. It's not thrown in, out there.
Yeah.
It was done with, feeling and emotion. And like you said, this is I'm taking my shot, and I want
Yeah,
people
man.
to enjoy this. And it's great, man. And
Thank you.
I'm definitely looking forward to hearing some more music from you.
Okay.
What did you say the other something divide? What was that?
Oh yeah, so I have 3 other singles out right now. My debut single was called "Be the Change," and I'm very proud of that one lyrically too. Give it a listen, and see what you think about that. The second one was "The Great Divide," and that's you know basically a song about, living in the pandemic and what it has done to us, and maybe the truth and the lies that we've heard, through every media outlet that we know of.
Hmm.
And then my third one is kind of where I started gaining some momentum. It's called Flame. It's one of my heavier songs, and that the Flame. The reason I love that song so much too is it's a song about just not giving up, right, and not letting your flame die out or be extinguished.
Right.
And I really feel like the chorus is pretty catchy, where we're talking about conjuring the rain and things like that. Like, who else uses the word conjuring, the rain, and making it make sense, dude? Like, I was super proud when I like wrote that. It just came to me. But so those are the three songs that have been released. They're on all the streaming platforms if you guys want to check those out.
Definitely.
Lyrically, I think they're really good, and I'm not just saying that. Like, I've spent 3 years with those first three songs, and I'm just like, that's not bad. That's not bad lyrically. Now, from a musical standpoint, could things get better? Of course. That's where we're at right now with Kiss from Rose. It freaking rips, dude. Like, it's a heater. It's
Yes.
it's different. It was intentional. It wasn't like you said, that there's plenty of those covers of the song out there, like more than I thought. And I took a lot of time to research those, and there's some good ones out there. Don't get me wrong. There's some metal-ish versions that were good, but it just never stuck. Like that one's super good. Like, I'm gonna put that in my playlist type of
Right.
cover. And when I went to Cam, I was like, dude, it has to be a departure, it has to be something different, but it has to have the same framework that it sounds familiar, right? And again, I had my ideas of how it was going to go, but Cam came back with like, here you go. What do you think about this? And I'm just like, I was floored. I was sitting here in the studio. I got like kind of like the first kind of cut of it. And I got so excited about it, because I knew in my heart, like, this is something I can be proud of. Like, I'm glad this is part of my catalog, and I'm hoping that one day it'll make it into a Batman movie of some sort, maybe a TV show. I don't care, as long as it's part of the Batman franchise. Like, maybe a darker, grittier, a little bit more violent version, because I think
Right.
that my version of the song would fit that, but it's also kind of like that nod back to '95 and Batman Forever type of deal. So I'm hopeful. I think maybe somebody will hear it that is in the movie industry, if you will, the film industry, that'll hear it and be like, oh, you should put this in your next Batman film, whoever, gets tasked to do that film. So that would be cool, right?
Oh yeah.
That would be cool. Anyway,
Hey,
I can
hey,
I can have my hopes and dreams.
yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
So, all right, Brett. Well, we're just about out of time, man. So,
Okay.
I will check out those three songs.
Okay.
Definitely looking forward to the one coming out in the summer. And I like I said, you're doing recording and writing in 2023, 24. You want to embark on tour. So,
Love
man,
that. Of
you know, be looking forward to it, dude.
course, man. Well, Matt. Thanks for having me on, dude. And I'd love to come back if you want me to. And yeah, I think I'll put before I put that one out in the summer, I think I might have one out, maybe, I don't know, a heavier one. I'm a Goddish type of song, probably April or May before I release that one. So just bear with me. I gotta raise a little bit more money to get these songs made, and a music video. I'm trying to get a music video for Kiss from a Rose. Um, you know, um, I guess made, if you will. I gotta raise the
Hmm.
money for that, because I think this version of the song commands a music video, and I really want to put something together very cinematic for that. As a filmmaker myself, I think I would want that. So anyway, I think we can only hope, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Well, you have a good evening. It was great talking to you.
Same here, Matt.
And yeah, man, I'd love to have you back in, maybe the summer and see how things are
Okay.
going.
All right, Matt. Thanks for having me, buddy. We'll see you.
All right. Bye.